All right, let's just get this live chat started. So thank you, all of you, for all 55 of us for joining the live chat today. Super excited to see a lot of your faces. And shown right now is our agenda for the next hour. We'll be kicking it off by introducing our panelists for the evening, all of whom who are current engineering students here at USC Viterbi. And then we'll be answering questions that you all submit through the webinar Q&A feature, though I will ask that you all hold on submitting your questions until we get to the Q&A portion. It's pretty obvious given the title and the invitation with my face that was sent to all your emails, but today we'll be discussing our experiences as Latina students at USC Viterbi's School of Engineering. Any question about the student experience at USC in engineering or in college in general is fair game. If you are viewing the live chat at a later date, don't worry, you can still email us questions at vstudent@usc.edu. We may not get to all the questions during the session, but if you email one of us will follow up with a response. That email is vstudent@usc.edu. For now, hold off on submitting questions through the Q&A. And just as a reminder, we're just students. We're here to share the student perspective of Viterbi and cannot answer the majority of admission-related questions. Please direct those to our admissions staff at viterbi.admission@usc.edu. At the end of the session, we'll spend a few minutes going over how to get in touch with us, the Viterbi admission office, as well as sharing some resources that may be useful to you as you navigate the application process. Now, without further ado, let's introduce ourselves. I will start. Hi, everybody. My name is Mateo Sabio Paesi, and I'm your host this evening. I am Honduran American and in the class of 2025, studying biomedical engineering with an electrical emphasis from Menlo Park, California, which is about 30 minutes south of San Francisco. Some of my involvements at USC, you'll hear this one several times today, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which is a great community for Hispanic engineers to mix, mingle, and advance our careers. I'm also a part of the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering. I have done research previously at the USC Institute for Technology and Medical Systems Innovation, where I worked with artificial intelligence and medical image analysis. And I'm also a USC Latino Alumni Association scholar. And in the past, I was a residential assistant for the dorms, so feel free to ask any questions about housing, and I will be able to answer some. And now let's get into introducing our panelists.
Hi guys, I'm Salma Mohammed. I'm half Puerto Rican, half Indian. I'm currently a senior and I'm studying civil engineering building science here at USC, and I'm from Austin, Texas. And as Mateo mentioned before, I'm also in the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and I'm the transfer student rep there. I'm also involved in the American Society of Civil Engineers, or ASCE, where I'm also on the executive board at the sponsorship chair, and I'm also on the Timber Strong design team.
Hi everyone, my name is Victoria Aguirre. I am currently a junior studying electrical and computer engineering. I'm half Chilean, half Ecuadorian, and I'm originally from Tustin, California, which is in the Orange County area. And then some of my involvements include being on the Trojan Club tennis team. I recently became an engineering freshman academy coach, which is for a class that all Viterbi freshmen have to take. I'm also part of Theta Tau, which is a co-ed engineering society, and I do research for the wireless devices and systems group here on campus. And I am also part of Helene's.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gerson Estrada. I am studying biomedical engineering here at USC with an electrical emphasis. I am a junior and I'm originally from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And, similarly to everybody else, I'm part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers as a director there. I'm also involved in the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineers, as well as the Biomedical Microsystems Laboratory, where I work with microneedle implantation technology. And yeah, outside of engineering, I am part of the Student Symphony Orchestra, where I play violin.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexa Garcia. I'm Mexican American and I will be graduating next year in the spring. I'm studying industrial and systems engineering, and I'm minoring in cybersecurity. And I'm from Covina, California, which is about 40 minutes on a good day without any traffic east of where USC is. Here at USC, I'm involved in the Trojan Marching Band, where I play alto saxophone. This will be my third year playing alto saxophone with the band. And if you're not familiar with it, we play at all the home games, all the away games for football, all the basketball games, both men and women's, and like volleyball games. It's super cool, fun, spirited time. I'm also on the e-board, which is for the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers as the Director of Information Systems. And basically, my role there is to help guide and mentor students who are interested in going into information systems as a future career and connect them with internships and other career opportunities. I previously did intern work as a research assistant in the One World Terrain Lab. It was taking artificial intelligence and training it to understand flat images of photos and turning it into 3D worlds. And this kind of was used by things like the military, game design as well. Outside of this, I'm involved in the cybersecurity and forensics organization, also known as Cyborg here at USC. And within that, I'm on the USC Capture the Flag team, which is really just a team to practice cybersecurity skills. And we go and compete against other colleges and universities.
All right, so you now just got to meet me and all of the other panelists. We've got some great diverse experiences here at USC. And now it is time for you to submit your questions. If you're on the webinar, we encourage you to submit questions through the Q&A feature below. And if you're viewing the webinar at a later time, you can email us your questions at vstudent@usc.edu. We want you all to know that a few years ago, we were in the same exact position you're in now, applying to colleges or looking forward to doing that, and trying to decide where would be the best fit for us. And that's why we're here to answer your questions and speak about our honest experiences. So go ahead and leave some questions in the Q&A feature. And all right, but first I will ask our first question for the group. What organizations at USC have had the most impact on your experience?
I can start off. I would definitely have to go with the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering. Something that really got me involved last year was the Biomedical Engineering Society Conference. And that was, I think, a 5-day conference where I really got to, talk to other people at USC that are also studying biomedical engineering, and got to know them, got to have fun, and really become part of the biomedical engineering community here at USC. So I felt like I have made many friends through ASBME there, and yeah, I really enjoy it.
Just to add on to that, I think for me, as I mentioned, I am the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, or SHIP for short. And I actually transferred here to USC as a sophomore, and the reason why I joined SHIP was because I was involved in the SHIP chapter at the university I was prior to coming here at USC. And so just like having that national organization kind of like being tied to something I was familiar with really made it a lot easier to adjust here at USC. And I have met a lot of like great people at SHIP. Everyone there is always very supportive, and it's just great to be in an environment where everyone wants to be their best selves and has their goals like academically and professional goals as well. And just being surrounded by that has definitely like had a really big impact in, my own like personal journey here.
I can go next. The biggest impact on me was being in the Trojan Marching Band. A week before my freshman year started, we actually have a week-long band camp, and it was a great way to meet people like right off the bat coming to USC. A lot of the Trojan Marching Band is engineers, like the majority of them are engineers, and a lot of them are actually Latinos just like me. So it was really nice, like coming to like basically my first day in college ever, and everyone was like, well, not everyone, but most people, they were also engineers, and they were also like looking like me. They were all like Latinos, or a good majority of them, and that really had an impact on me because I was like, wow, there's people out here who are doing the things that I want to do. They're playing music and being an engineer at the same time. And it really made me inspired, you know, to like keep like reaching towards my goals that I had before I got here. So it was really nice.
Towards my goals that I had before I got here.
Right. Yeah. Oh, Vicky, go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just gonna say this isn't very like engineering related, but for me, I think it's definitely been the Trojan Club tennis team. I joined the team my freshman year fall semester, and like I had been playing tennis since I was 5. So it was definitely something I wanted to continue here while still being able to manage academics. And for me, it's been a really good outlet just to kind of like forget about the engineering course load and like still find time to exercise and like get out of, the engineering buildings and like my room and everything. But I also think it's like really important to be able to branch out and meet people who are also outside of Viterbi, just so that you like kind of expand your bubble at USC. And I know that for me, the Trojan Club tennis team has definitely been that outlet, for not only like fun, but also like being able to make friends who aren't necessarily just Viterbi. So yeah, that's been a really great experience.
Definitely some great answers across the board. Of course, the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers was also one of my little homes away from home where I've been able to meet lots of great people. I've gone to lots of events and gotten a lot of participating in the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering. And of course, there's other organizations where I attend their events. Maybe I'm not as involved, but for example, the Latino Student Association, they throw lots of cool events, once again, bringing community to USC. So our next question is going to be from an anonymous participant. How rigorous are the engineering courses at USC? Is it easy to balance other things with the courses?
So I feel like I can speak on this as a senior. So I think it really depends, number one, what your major is. Number two, it also depends like what year you're in, because I know like as a freshman, you'll have usually a majority of intro courses depending on like your AP credits, because I know sometimes you might test out a certain intro courses from that. But definitely I would say that junior year is when I've had the heaviest course load for my major. It's because you've kind of moved on and transitioned from the preliminary intro courses between freshman and sophomore year, and it's more like technical and really getting major specific. So because of that, there is a lot more work, and I think they do that also on purpose because it's a great way to like really learn a lot and not leave all those like important major specific courses to your senior year. So I feel like there is definitely a huge like learning curve. So I think my best advice would be when you get to that stage, if between like your sophomore, your junior year, just like really take the time to take it all in, because this is where the real work happens. Because I know like your freshman year, it's like, oh, when am I actually gonna start doing real engineering? Well, this is like the real engineering part. So just like give yourself time and just really internalize it, because this is the year where you're gonna learn like a majority of the stuff that you end up using later on in your career.
For me, it was a little different from Salma. I think for me, like my freshman year fall semester was pretty heavy. I don't know if it was like just like a major thing, but I know for me, I wasn't really used to like the engineering course load. Like I think I was taking maybe like 3 classes for my major. And it was also like I had just gotten to USC and I also wanted to join a lot of stuff and like make sure I was making friends and like all of that. And so I think just balancing the two of like academics, but then also like the social part or like the extracurricular part, I think that was a little bit challenging for me. And my first semester, I remember it being a pretty heavy struggle. But instead of like using that experience as like a reason to leave Viterbi and like maybe pick like an easier major, I definitely used that first semester as kind of like a learning opportunity. And I remember like that semester in between, or that break in between first semester and second semester, I definitely kind of like sat down and thought about what I needed to do different in order to succeed in my classes. And I think for me, every semester has been like an improvement, not only in terms of like GPA, but also just like, I think like my mental health and like being able to tackle on like maybe upper division classes. And so yeah, I think for me, it was definitely, there was also a learning curve. It just hit me pretty early on in college, I would say.
Yeah, adjusting to college courses was definitely a challenge. But I think Viterbi definitely offers many resources such as the Course Shock Learning Center, as well as just like your friends being able to communicate and have that support system around you really helps. All of these things combined, I think, make Viterbi really like you can do it, right? So I would just say take advantage of all the resources available to you and try your best. I know it's a lot, but you will end up doing fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great answers across the board once again. Gerson kind of touched upon it, but USC is like a very large university. And then within the university, there is USC Viterbi. And then within USC Viterbi, we're all divided into our majors. And so really, like everyone's touched on, those first couple years, like it really is an adjustment, at least it was for me. And having to adjust to the rigor was definitely a change. And I used all the same strategies that people already touched on, but really it's your own learning curve that will able to help you get adjusted the best. The next question from another anonymous participant. I like this one. How did you choose your major and why do you think it fits you?
I feel like I could also start off with this. So, my major was actually one of the main motivators for why I even wanted to transfer to USC in the first place. Because as I mentioned earlier, I'm in building science, which is one of the concentrations within civil engineering. And it's very specific. It's a very niche program. You don't really see it at a lot of universities. And that's something I noticed quickly when I was doing my research. And it comprises of general like civil engineering things you'll learn in your coursework here, but it also has structural construction design as well as architecture, which to me sounded perfect because when I got to my university, I had started out as an environmental engineering major, and I realized that, I don't think that really aligns with what I want to do long term. And so I changed to civil because I've always been interested in like building design and structural design as well as architecture, but I knew that getting a minor in architecture wouldn't have been feasible as well with my civil engineering major. So I started to find like what else I could do. And so with this program, I felt like it's given me so much creative freedom in that sense of always having that interest in architecture and design. And it's really allowed me to explore like these different like avenues within civil with such as structural construction and architecture. So I think for me, it's like the perfect combination because I feel like as an engineering major, like you have a lot of parts of your personality. And I feel like this one is just able to encompass a lot of them for me.
I can share a little bit about my experience. So I actually came in as a computer science major, and my first semester I was taking one or two computer science classes. And while I was taking them, I had the feeling that maybe this wasn't like something that I could see myself doing long term. So I reached out to like other people in Viterbi, like all the different majors, and I asked around and I found industrial engineering, and I found that it was kind of like the Swiss Army knife of engineering. Like it's very interdisciplinary. There's a lot of business, there's a lot of data science, there's a lot of like stats kind of stuff. And I found that this was like a better match for me than computer science. So it was a little bit of time before I found something that I was like really comfortable with. And I often see this in a lot of like first year members in like the band or other organizations that I'm in, like they're not really sure like if their major is correct for them when they first get there. And I think it's totally okay to like ask around and like use your resources to figure out like where you fit in best or like what's going to make you the happiest.
Yeah. I wasn't entirely sure either coming into college what I wanted to do. I applied to a couple different universities with like different majors. I think I did like electrical, aerospace, and mechanical. But the reason why I ended up sticking with electrical is just because I really like the fact that it still has a lot to do with like computers and like I take some coding classes here and there, but it's not the only thing I'm doing. Like I definitely didn't want to just code. And I know that with electrical, it's very versatile. Like I still don't know exactly what I want to do with it post grad. But I know like I could go into the aerospace industry. I could go into like biomedical devices. Like I feel like there's just a lot of things I can do with it. And so I just think because it's not too niche, like I just kind of like enjoyed the classes and like knowing that I could eventually like go into whatever industry was like very comforting for me. So that's definitely why I decided to stick with it.
Yeah, for me, I've always really enjoyed biology, and I took 3 years of biology in high school. So that was something I was really interested in. I've always been fascinated at how complex the human body can be. That combined with my father has always had cardiovascular issues. So that's been a big motivator in my life. And that ultimately led me to want to pursue biomedical engineering here at USC.
All right. I think everybody answered. I think mine is pretty similar to Gerson's. I would say I kind of was applying to college at around the same time that COVID was really starting to pump up. And yeah, just being able to observe the quick work of scientists, healthcare professionals, and the new developments from engineers and scientists really inspired me to work in the healthcare industry. But I'm not, I wasn't really sure what role I wanted to have, whether I wanted to be a doctor, but really excited for engineering, like problem solving. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Um, okay. So another question from Elvis. Let me see if I can find it. We get lots of questions, so I lost it. But Elvis asked, how has USC networking, like conferences or lab groups or organizations, furthered your careers at USC?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are many, many opportunities here at USC to network. For example, literally Friday, I just went to the ASBME, the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering, their fall networking night, where they brought big companies such as Medtronic, Abbott, Boston Scientific, etc. And we got to speak to representatives from each company and talk to them about our prospects in regards to working there this summer. I know next week, for example, we have the Viterbi Career Fair where many, many more companies, big, well-known companies, I think like Apple, all the companies you can imagine basically come and you get to speak with the representatives in the hopes that you will get an internship there for the summer. Um, yeah, I mean, I know other clubs as well bring in reps for companies that they might be interested in, and you can also speak with them. USC as well hosts some information sessions with companies. So I would say the possibilities to network are very, very big here, and they definitely do allow us students to, progress our career and figure out what we want to do.
Yeah, adding on to that, there's definitely a ton of ways to like kind of like network, not only with like recruiters, but also like students. I know this week there's like an organization mixer with like the different like student organizations. And then they also bring recruiters from a ton of different companies. And then because it is like the Viterbi Career Fair this week, there's like a ton of like recruiting sessions where like they're specifically looking to hire like USC Viterbi students. Like I think this week I'm signed up for one with like I think Abbott and then PlayStation, and then like a couple other companies were also coming. But then not only are there opportunities to like network, but Viterbi and USC as a whole like really places an emphasis on making sure that you're prepared to network. I know the Career Center always has like workshops going on, where they like help you with your resume, or like maybe they'll set up like headshots, where you can like go and take a headshot for like your LinkedIn account or whatever you need it for. I know there's also times when like USC alumni will come back and host like mock interviews. And like I've seen all of these resources offered by like different student organizations as well as USC. And it's even better sometimes when it's like Viterbi specific. And so they definitely do a really good job. But also this year, I joined the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and they have the national conference in Anaheim this year. And I applied to go with our chapter, and they actually like cover a ton of students like registration fees, which is really, really nice. So at the end of October, it'll be like this big national conference where you also get to talk to a ton of recruiters, and like people from different ship chapters all around the nation also get to go. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of opportunities. I think it's definitely about putting yourself out there and like taking advantage of everything that's offered.
Yeah, kind of going off on that. You guys have both mentioned like the clubs you're in and how USC as a whole, has a lot of like networking opportunities. I will say that USC has a very powerful alumni network in all areas almost, especially in Viterbi. So I would say that, when you come to USC, like even just talking to your friends, like chances are like when you're in the same major, they're gonna know of like a company that maybe you guys might both be interested in, and they might know someone else. And like especially with your professors are usually very well connected, and just talking, like having a normal conversation, like you never know like who you might be talking to, like a recruiter or someone that's worked in a company that you've been interested in. And as Victoria mentioned as well, like with SHIP, they always have SHIP Nationals, the conference that they host every year. It has like a 2-day career fair, a lot of like networking, workshops and opportunities to talk with recruiters. And I went my first time my sophomore year, and I got an internship from going to that career fair because one of the SHIP members had interned at this company that who I later talked to the recruiter, and because she had a good experience with the member from our chapter, it was really like a nice process, and it was great to have like already like an in into that company. So definitely like just talk to people. People are very friendly, and like especially when you're interested in the same things, it's usually really easy to find overlaps. And also with your student orgs, like I also mentioned, I'm in ASCE where I'm the sponsorship chair, and our students, like for example, for our information sessions that we host, a lot of them will just reach out to companies they've interned at who come to our school because they really are interested in recruiting USC students. So just like know that there are a lot of companies that want USC students. So I don't know if that helps in like motivating you guys to apply, but there's a lot of resources here and a lot to go on for you guys to advance in your career growth.
Yeah, I would say that alumni, especially alumni that are like the same major as you, like they graduated with the same major, they always want to help. Like I've never met an alumni that is not wanting to learn more about what you want to do in your future and how you're going to get there. I would recommend for everyone in Viterbi to join an org that's specific to their major, because there's a lot of companies who come to recruit just for that major, just from USC. For example, my past internship was cybersecurity consulting with PwC, and PwC comes to our campus like for industrial engineers every year, and they recruit just for us. And I feel like they they have good experience. They've had good experiences in the past with USC ISEs, and they keep coming back. So it's like, like it keeps going in a loop. Like if you have positive experiences with them, they'll give you positive experiences back, and you can help impact like future Trojans. But yeah, it's really great, and I think I see a lot of people benefit from it yearly.
Yeah, I think USC provides a lot. My camera's off. I think USC provides a lot of different resources and ways to get connected with others. Of course, we're known for our Trojan family, really bringing people together. And I personally have a lot of benefits with this. I went to the same thing as Gerson on Friday night, the fall networking night, and me and Salma next week are gonna hit up all of the different networking events, including the student org mix there, etc., and the career. Okay, is it working now? Okay, okay, I think it's working now. Sorry about that. I am seeing a lot of questions. Can we close the teams? Okay, seeing a lot of questions about what it's like being a Latina student at USC. And so I'm just going to combine a couple. Where have you found resources or support relating to being a Latina student at Viterbi and at USC?
Sorry, can you repeat that question again? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Uh, so I've seen a lot of questions in the chat relating to this. Where have you found resources or support related to being a Latina student at Viterbi and at USC?
Yeah, I can answer this. I mean, obviously, as everybody has been saying, there's the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. I know that's big for us Latino students here at USC. There's a big community of Hispanic engineers there. There are many more clubs and organizations outside of Viterbi. I'm honestly not too aware of them because I'm not too involved in them, but I'm sure other people here can talk more about that.
Yeah, one of like my favorite is La Casa, which is like an area like for like Latinx students. But they always do like a ton of different events throughout the year, and they're always offering like whether it's like free food or like just like like a quiet space to study. Like it's just like a really nice area to be in. And like I think once you like commit to USC, like I think it asks you a question about like your background and if you want to receive like notifications or like emails like regarding different resources about it. And so I think because I clicked yes, I get a lot of emails from La Casa. And so it like is like a really nice area in my opinion to just kind of go and like be able to study somewhere nice on campus. They also decorate it really pretty. So like it's just like a nice little area to be in. But I think that's my favorite resource.
For me, I would have to say the Center for Engineering Diversity, or CED, like a lot of people call it here. It's a really great resource because it's like an area like within Viterbi, like the area of campus, and it's always open 24/7 for the students. So a lot of people like come in there and do work, but a lot of the staff that works there reaches out to students directly. For instance, like for me as a transfer, I know that they had reached out to me directly to host some like sessions for prospective like transfer students and other people that had been interested in the USC Viterbi program. And they're always doing initiatives like that to empower our students of color and POC students. So that isn't a really great resource to have that space where, you feel empowered and you feel like that they're making your experience here at USC a priority.
I have to agree with CED. The summer before my freshman year here at USC, they held a month-long program on campus, all expenses paid. So people who had to fly in, their flights were paid. And we lived in the dorms here on campus, and we were able to do research through CED and specific like PhD students who had signed up to take us under their wing for the month. And it was a great opportunity because it allowed me to like, kind of adjust to being on campus before I had to do it for real. And I made a lot of friends that I still talk to this day, who are still one of my closest like people I talk to all the time. My roommates, actually, I met her at VSI, which is the name of the program, and I still live with her 3 years later. So it was definitely really cool and a cool opportunity for us to, kind of get adjusted to things.
Nice. Yeah, I spend a lot of time with Salma at CED. Spent half my Friday in there actually. And overall, for the past 4 years, I think USC has been really wonderful, or USC has had a lot of wonderful resources. I've spent time in La Casa. I've been to LSA events, Latina Student Association, and of course, SHIP has been a really nice family away from home. I've also been a part of the Latino Alumni Student or the Latino Alumni Association at USC, and they have not only supported me with money, as in funds, to support my education, but they have also supported me with networking services, community building events, such as a luncheon with all the scholars and speakers that have been in the fields that we are all trying to join. And it's very motivating and inspiring to hear from a lot of these speakers because most of the time they're USC alums who were in our shoes not too long ago. So maybe in the same way that we're sharing our experiences, we've had the same gratifying experience through lots of guest speakers through the Latino Alumni Association. And so that has been a wonderful tool for me as well, that has supported me in several ways. So another question I saw in the chat, oh my gosh, who asked it? Something about classes. Let's see. Let's answer Madison's question. So Madison asked, I'm going to combine several questions once again. What have been some of your favorite classes? Oh, some of your favorite classes at USC? And what classes provide you a view of engineering fields?
Um, I guess like for me, like I can start this out, but last year, my junior year, two classes that really stuck with me were number one of my architecture studio courses. If you're ever in building science, it's ARC 305 with Professor Gerber. And so that class was my first experience having everything like fully 3D modeled with the software we're using, Rhino. It's really common in a lot of like architecture like settings. So if you're interested in that, like that's good to know. But it was my first time using a project fully on Rhino and a large scale project. So I remember we had started out in the fall with a smaller project, like a learning pavilion. So you pick something that you're passionate about, one of your interests, and you try to create like a space that tries to communicate that and share that with the community, and you get to pick where in the world you want to place that. So already like having that sort of mindset that I needed to develop of like not only like a concept, but also thinking, how is this going to impact the built environment? Like that was really, really interesting to me. And then the next big project that I did in that course, or the next two big projects, were I was tasked designing a school, and I could pick how large it was going to be. I had to pick a site. So, getting that sensitivity that a lot of people develop in the construction field, such as like zoning, surrounding elements, like, is this going to mean a residential area? Is this an urban area, a commercial area? So knowing that, like having that mindset again, like getting very developed in that class was really important for me to be able to see that bigger picture of really what building science is about, what the design, build, construction industry is about. And then navigating like, I'm building this school, how many like square feet is it going to be on each floor, the programmatic elements that go feed into it from architecture, as well as like thinking about the structure elements that I was learning at the same time, steel and concrete design, like where's the best place to place these columns and like the foundation design. So I think that course, as well as the one I mentioned where I was able to learn steel and concrete design, just like the fusion between those, I feel like it helped a lot to see that bigger picture of why what I'm learning is important and how I can directly see that. And I think that's really kind of helped me change my perspective and seeing it as more than just classes and seeing it like this is like an experience that I could potentially have on the job like when I graduate. And so that has been really rewarding and making it really useful for deciding of how I view my career in the future.
Yeah, I think the question was like favorite courses, if I remember correctly. So I would definitely have to go with BME 202, which is controlling communications in the nervous system. And really what stood out about that class to me was the fact that we, throughout the entire semester, we modeled a neuron through an electrical circuit. And beyond that, we got the opportunity to model it through Excel, through like a 20,000 row Excel sheet, which was super fun. And then we got to do it through MATLAB, and we got to do a lot of things with that. It was I don't know, to me it was just super cool seeing how a neuron can be modeled through an electrical circuit and like software outside of that. So that is definitely really opened my eyes to how much of engineering, and specifically biomedical engineering, can be applied to, electrical circuitry, which is why, again, was a big factor into why I chose to take on an electrical engineering emphasis.
Yeah. For me, I really enjoyed my freshman year spring semester taking Intro to Embedded Systems. I really was not sure if electrical engineering was for me, but this class was kind of like a mix of like software and hardware. And I had a really great time learning more about that, specifically the labs. Like I think the labs were a little challenging for me, but it was always very like rewarding being able to like spend lots of hours on a specific lab and then like see it at the end all kind of come together and like being able to like visually see like because we worked with like Arduino boards, like seeing it do something and like what you asked it to do. And so for me, that was like a really fun class but also kind of reassuring in the way where it was like, okay, like I could see myself doing something like this. And my internship this last summer was also in like embedded software. And so that definitely like set me up in terms of like looking for different internship positions and like what I wanted to even apply to. So that has definitely been my favorite class so far.
All right. In my experience, I mean, I'm in my last semester. I've taken a lot of class at USC, so it's a hard one to answer. But my last semester, I took two really cool classes. I took BME 415. Oh, I don't remember the exact title, but it's like Development of Medical Products. And it was a great class on an introduction to how uh, different medical devices get to market, coming from an idea to getting patents to running clinical trials and ultimately getting into market. It's a great way to learn more about industry, and it really helped me kind of understand what I was going into when I was going into my internship for this summer. Additionally, I took BME 410, which is Introduction to Biomaterials and Tissue Engineering. And this class was just such a rigorous class, but rigorous in a good way. I think once you're in your third and fourth year at USC, you really understand rigor and how to go through it. You really just have that experience from your former classes. And so, despite the rigor of a lab as well as a really intensive lecture, I learned so much about biomaterials and tissue engineering techniques. It's a very niche class and compared to a lot of my other ones, but it really got me interested in the science behind a lot of the new advancements that we've had in the biotechnology field. So if any of you guys attend USC for BME, look forward to that class. It's a really great one. And so I saw another question from an anonymous participant that I would love you guys to answer. I'm going to phrase it a little differently. We've talked a lot about the different resources that USC has, but let's talk about your tangible experiences. In the past summers or throughout the school year, what have been some things that you've done to advance your career? And what have you learned from those and channeled them into career interests? I'm kind of talking about labs that you've been a part of or internship experiences that you've had, and how have those generated your educational and career goals in the future?
I can talk about this. The summer after my freshman year, I had this research internship at the Oklahoma Medical Research Foundation. And there I had a 2-month long experience where I got to I got to do a lot of wet lab work and examined essentially an enzyme and see the effects it has on the migration of cells and their propagation. Um, However, I think the biggest takeaway that I got from that experience was that at the end I was able to present my research in front of, doctors, scientists, peers, and others, and really articulate what I found, what I discovered. I think the skill of communication and presentation really developed through that experience. When it comes to research, like I said, I'm in the biomedical microsystems laboratory. There I work with microneedle electrodes that are implanted subdermally. I've been able to do everything from, CADing through SolidWorks, coding through Python. This summer, I spent a lot of my time building an Android and iOS application, a Python based application that will allow us to use Bluetooth to connect with the microneedles and plot the data that we get from that on the phone. So yeah, I would say all these experiences have not only helped me in a technical way, but also in a professional and interpersonal way.
So I have done an internship every summer since I've gotten here, and each one has been a little bit different because when I got here, I didn't really know what I wanted to do once I left, So I've been trying to get a little bit of everything, a little taste of everything. The summer after my freshman year, I was a quality assurance engineer intern with a startup. So this was like a really small company. They don't have everything really together yet. And it was really interesting because I was kind of thrown into the role of like a full-time person. I was doing the work that a full-time person would. So this really helped me understand like what it was like to be like a real life, a quality assurance engineer, not just an intern who's doing busy work. And it made me realize that maybe this is not what I want to do with my future. So as I took more ISC classes, more classes for my minor as well, cybersecurity, I got a different internship the next summer, which was cybersecurity consulting. And I felt like this was definitely more of a better match for me and something that I could see myself doing in the future. And I feel like for people who don't really know what they want to do yet, like in the future, I really recommend just trying a lot of different things with internships or research or even classes because it'll help you understand where you see yourself, where you visualize yourself, and where you don't. And I think it's okay to not know immediately off the bat, like the first internship that you get, like if you don't like it, that's totally fine. Even if it's like one of the later internships you get and you still don't like it, I think there's always time and always an opportunity to figure out what you want to do eventually, with more classes and more work experience. So yeah, that was definitely cool working in quality assurance. But to me now I just see it as like, it was a good learning experience and it helped me figure out what I want to do even more.
Yeah, and I can also answer this. So this summer, I had a structural engineering internship for an oil and gas company. I mostly wanted to have the experience of being under structural because I'm interested in steel design, so I thought it would have been a great opportunity to be in a setting that would give me that experience. And I think it was really pivotal to the way I view my career in the future. So technically, it would have been my second internship within the oil and gas sort of general umbrella. But after this experience, I really learned that, you know, for the future, like I don't think I would like to go into oil and gas, just because I realized that what I really care about are more like building projects, the built environment, less so like oil and gas or like rigging design when it comes to steel design. So I think it's so important to know, like Alexa was saying when she had an experience that, you know, she wasn't sure if she could see herself doing that long term. Those experiences are so important because, you know, it sort of steers your path into like making the right move. And I think being aligned with yourself is very important in your career. And I think that was super important for me deciding like I don't want to do this in oil and gas, but I found out that I still am interested in trying out the structural track. So I think just like making sure you're aligned is super important with these experiences.
Yeah. This last summer I had my first internship in Illinois. And it was definitely a really cool experience just because it was also the first time I had ever lived away from home for like a couple months. And so it was like kind of cool just because it was like, okay, I like have done it in the past. Like I like could see myself living like somewhere outside of California. And also just like being able to be like exposed to like a traditional work environment and kind of get a feel for like like an industry that I could go in as an electrical engineer. And I had a really good experience. It definitely like it happened to be embedded software, which is like something I was somewhat interested beforehand. And kind of doing it, like working on projects throughout the summer, like it definitely kind of reassured that I like am still very interested in this field. Like I know now that like I do want to have like some coding elements in like whatever I go into. Like I don't want it to just be hardware. And so I think moving forward, like I'll definitely be like trying to mix the two and like furthering my skills like in order to be prepared for that industry. But yeah, it was definitely a very different experience. Um, and I think I not only was able to meet a lot of people from a ton of different places and backgrounds, who also had like a ton of different like engineering majors from college. I think I was also kind of able to like see like a professional engineering environment for the first time, and get like an idea of like what that'll look like post grad. So it's definitely a cool experience.
Sounds like we've all had some really gratifying and worthwhile summer experiences. Some definitely with the help of USC, some with your own initiative, but I can say, at least to my experience, that USC definitely prepared me for my internship experiences. I can really quickly run through mine. I 2 summers ago, I did a research internship here at USC Keck, which is our medical school campus, health sciences campus, where I did medical image analysis research. And that was just a really great way to apply a lot of the skills and concepts that I learned in class into something I'm passionate in, which is AI and neuroscience. And I kind of found out research actually wasn't really something I wanted to continue. And so that's what an internship is for. And you'll find that out too when you do your own internships in the future. But I instead, the next summer, after taking that regulatory class that I mentioned earlier, I pursued an internship at a biopharmaceutical company where I worked as a global quality compliance intern, which is basically quality and compliance, making sure things are going great and at the standards and regulations that we are expected to run in. So it was a great internship. Once again, applying my skills, and with the help of USC, I was able to land it. So we are running out of time. So we're going to quickly go into our last question, which is why USC? Uh, let's have someone answer.
I feel like now as a senior, it's like all coming full circle in general. There are so many reasons that I could keep going on and on about like why USC, but I think for me the most important thing was that I felt like I feel like I'm in a place where I belong in terms of like what I'm studying. Like I could tell you all day about building science, and I feel like it's like a customly built major for me. So that was like a huge aspect. It's a place where I can explore all of my passions and what I want to study and learn. And I would say another thing that I really like about USC, and I've learned more about my time here, is that people here are very collaborative. People here want to support each other and build each other up. And that's been so helpful to me as a student and a woman in engineering. It feels so empowering and so inspiring to be surrounded by people that, just always want to be the best versions of themselves. And it feels like an honor of growing around people that also want to grow into better versions of themselves.
Yeah, adding on to that, I think for me, like visiting USC for the first time was definitely a unique experience. Like I think it was really the only school I ever visited where I kind of had like a wow moment. Like I remember like so many people were walking by with like their USC merch, and like just like the pride of like coming here and being a Trojan is so strong that I felt that it like really like called out to me. And like, yeah, in terms of just like opportunities, I think the opportunities not only at Viterbi, but like USC as a whole are just like, there are so many, and like there are always so many things going on that like as long as you take advantage of a few here and there, like that's already so much. And then yeah, just being like in the LA area, I feel like it's like a really cool environment. You can go anywhere, you can go explore different food places, you can like get off campus, go do fun things. And I think for me, that was definitely a big part of like the college experience. So like you not only get the academics, but you also get the fun stuff. Um, and so yeah, I think picking USC was definitely one of my better decisions because it's been a really good time. So yeah.
Yeah,
For me,
similarly to everyone else, I have to go with the people. I think the people here at USC are so open, kind, especially within Viterbi. I know at many colleges, engineering can be very quote unquote competitive. But here at USC, like everybody's so welcoming, so willing to help you out with, I don't know, homework, a project, whatever assignment you're going through. And even people grades above you will like help you out with that if that's what you need. So I would definitely have to go with the people as well as the networking and opportunities that you get from networking. I do have to emphasize that the Trojan network is pretty strong and is really helpful when it comes to getting a job. So yeah, the people and networking are definitely the biggest reasons why I chose USC.
for me, USC really just checked all my boxes. I knew I wanted to stay in LA. I'm from the LA area, and I couldn't really imagine myself anywhere else just because there's always something to do in LA. I'm very big on music and entertainment, and I love exploring concerts and everything that LA has to offer here. But for USC specifically, I love how it's such a spirited school. I love being a part of the marching band and like really playing into like the Trojan energy. It feels like I'm contributing to something that's bigger than myself. And going along with that, the people that I'm surrounding myself with, like in the band, even in my classes, and the other orgs that I'm in, they all feel the same way about USC. I've never met someone who doesn't have the same kind of energy as myself towards USC or like even the classes. And I really appreciate that because, it's nice being surrounded by someone who's like-minded, who thinks like similarly towards like goals and passions towards yourself. But still going off of that, like if you're passionate about music or if you're passionate about something else, like I don't know, science, like you're really passionate about science. I mean, as engineers, we're all passionate about science, but like if you're super passionate about science or you're super passionate about like the environment or something completely different than that, there's always going to be someone who you can find who's passionate about the same things as you because it's such a big school and you can definitely always find your niche where you can fit in and like truly be yourself. But I really love the people and how supportive they always are with anything you do. And I'm really, really grateful to call myself a Trojan.